I'm Thinking of Ending Things is a film written and directed by Charlie Kaufman, who brought us such screenplays as Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Synecdoche, New York. The film stars Jessie Buckley, Jessie Plemons, Toni, Collette, and David Thewlis. The story's protagonist is Lucy, who's thinking of ending her relationship with her boyfriend Jake, and you could totally tell that right off from the start there's something a little bit strange about the relationship.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. Just giving you a quick update. I basically got a new microphone in the middle of recording this review, so there's going to be some parts of the review that have a lot more crispness in terms of the audio quality, but for the most part, the rest of it's going to be with the sound mic that I have with my camera, so some parts you'll definitely tell that the new mic is being implemented. Other parts you're definitely going to notice the lower sound quality, so I do apologize for that. Just bear with me. This channel's new, and I'm on a budget right now, but I was able to afford a better microphone, so you'll definitely see the difference between the two parts, two different types of audios, and I hope you don't mind. But anyway, let's get back to the review.
There are long stretches of this film where it's just dialogue for 15-20 straight minutes of just back and forth between Jessie Buckley's character Lucy and Jessie Plemons' character Jake, and there's something a little bit off about Jake too. In fact, everybody in this movie besides the protagonist seems a little bit off, especially Jake's parents, who are played very well by David Thewlis and Toni Collette. They're a bit on edge, they're a bit erratic, and you would definitely tell that they make Jake's character feel really uncomfortable. The whole movie has this really uncomfortable feel that Charlie Kaufman is really great at writing. And like all of his other movies, this film really likes to explore the idea of loneliness, not living our lives to our full potentials, our regrets, revisiting a place that we try to lock away in terms of our past.
The elements that stand out the most as the film progresses are the strange relationships and conversations shared between our two protagonists and Jake's parents, who are bizarre, to put it delicately. I also really love Jessie Buckley, who does a fantastic job of portraying Lucy, our protagonist. She's a woman with deep, contrived thoughts on life, on films, and our own meaning of happiness and our own existence. And what's impressive about Kaufman's screenplay adaptation is how he's able to correlate her ideologies with Jessie Plemons' character, Jake. Despite being two very different people, somehow their thoughts and their opinions on every subject just seem to collide in a way. As the story progresses and we enter the home of Jake's family, we are automatically engulfed in the quiet doom that surrounds the uneasiness of Jake's parents, who, much like Jake, come off as socially awkward and removed from reality. Yet we feel pity for them. Pity for them through certain interactions that they have with Lucy. Perhaps my absolute favorite element of this movie, along with all of Kaufman's screenplays, is his ability of adapting characters and capturing performances that can depict deteriorating states of depression and loneliness so well that it almost seems effortless.
But is it Charlie Kaufman's best film? I wouldn't say so. If you're not really into movies that are essentially dialogue-based, that really dive into the philosophy of how one person thinks compared to how another person thinks, and if you don't like really dark, depressing movies, then you should probably skip this one. In terms of a filmmaking aspect, I feel like Charlie Kaufman is a much better screenwriter than he is a director. There's not really much that stands out in terms of the cinematography or how certain scenes are staged. It's a lot of very plain backgrounds, it's a lot of very plain, dark, moody environments, lots of snow, which I get that fits into the theme of the movie and the theme of its central characters, but it can get to a certain point where you kind of lose your focus a little bit because it is just, everything is just so dark when you're watching it in terms of how these characters are talking to each other, that it can get a little befuddled when everything is just so dim that it kind of just brings the mood down even more than I think that Kaufman even intended. Now the movie is supposed to get more dark as it goes on, and does a pretty good job doing so. But there's just something that's missing from it for me that I get in a lot of other Kaufman movies that I really love. And perhaps that thing is that whereas his other films, there's so much uniqueness and originality as the story progresses, specifically in movies like Eternal Sunshine and Synecdoche. If you haven't seen those movies, check those out. Those are masterpieces. This film almost sort of feels repetitive in how it's trying to confuse you. Nevertheless, it's still one of the best films that I've seen this year, which I know that's not really saying much because there's not a lot of films that have been released this year, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're into Charlie Kaufman films, or if you're into films that really explore that type of world, that world where everything just seems grim and strange and out of place. So if I had to give this one a rating, I'd give it about a 3.5 out of 5 ticket stubs. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not Charlie Kaufman's best work. However, saying this isn't his best work isn't really a negative connotation. The guy's a screenwriting genius, and I don't really use that word often, but the man knows how to write a screenplay, and he knows how to pick the perfect actors to be in it. Every performance in this movie was great. But if you're interested in the movie, it's on Netflix. If you have a Netflix, go ahead and check it out. This is Jonathan Diep with The Deep Dive. Thank you guys for tuning in. Life can be okay, life can be shit. But you know what can make life great sometimes? Watching more movies. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.